Namaskar. Good evening. Namaskar. Let us continue our study of the Gospel. Swami Atmagyan is out of town. So we were in the English Gospel. Page 113. Page 113. This is August 24, 1882, Thursday. Sri Ramakrishna, this is about 10 lines from the bottom of that page. Sri Ramakrishna asks him if you can get a picture of a bird sitting on the eggs. Can you show me such a picture? M says, I shall try to get one. As evening came on, the temples were lighted up, etc. That's on page 113 in the English Gospel. In the Bengali edition, it is page 62, Tritiya Parichhed, Guru Shishya Sambad, Gujya Katha, Sanda Hailo, Farash Kali Mandire, O Radha Kanter Mandire, O Nan Ghare, Alo Jaliya Lilo. That one. There is page 62. Nandan. So let us begin with a prayer. Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmashapakam Sravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvigananti te Borida Jana. Om, your words are like nectar, bringing life to scorched souls. They are praised by poets and remove all sin. They are auspicious to hear, wonderful and exalted. Those who spread these words throughout the world are truly giving souls. This sloka is from the Bhagavatam. M chanted this sloka at the beginning of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So, M says, I shall try to get one. As evening came on, the temples were lighted up. Sri Ramakrishna was seated on his small couch, meditating on the Divine Mother. Then he chanted the names of God. Incense was burnt in the room where an oil lamp had been lighted. Sounds of conch shells and gongs came floating in the air as the evening worship began in the temples of Kali. The light of the moon flooded all the quarters. The master again spoke to M. Now Sri Ramakrishna gives further instructions to M and to all devotees. This chapter is called Advice to Householders. This is a very important chapter where Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna gives very important instructions for householders and all other people also. And these are simple instructions which you can carry out. So this is what he says to M, Master. That means Sri Ramakrishna. Perform your duties in an unselfish spirit. The work that Vidyasagar is engaged in is very good. Always try to perform your duties without desiring any result. This is very important instruction applicable to all householders, sannyasis, brahmacharis, vanaprasthins, at any stage of life for any person. These are very common, important instructions, and this is the gist of the Gita. Nishkama karma, performing all our duties with love, joy, and devotion as an offering, and there our duty ends. No attachment to the fruits of actions. This instruction comes in the Gita in many, many places. In the Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, chapter 3, verse 9, any action that is done other than as offering, yajna means offering, is going to be binding. They'll be bound by the results. Good, good, bad, bad. None escape the law, as Swamiji says in his Song of Sannyasi. Therefore, what we should do? There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Tasmad asaktas satatam karyam karma samachara. Therefore, if you don't want to be bound by the fruits of actions, if you don't want to persuade the cycle of karma, karma phala desire, karma, karma phala desire, that you are caught up in the cycle generally. If you want to break out of that cycle, the way to exit from that cycle is to perform all our duties without attachment. How to do that one? By offering all our duties, karma, by doing them with great devotion, with joy and gratitude. Gratitude is very important because, as we saw before, work is a gift, very precious gift. It's a privilege actually. Although we don't think of it normally, we think of work as something to be done. Why have to do this? Let somebody do this. No, that's the right attitude towards work is to do it with great joy and gratitude. Because why we should be grateful when we have to do work? Because it's a very precious gift. Two things are there: the opportunity to do work and the ability to do work. Both are special gifts. We all have received, we have that gift, so we don't think about it. Anything that we have, we take it for granted and we don't think about how important it is. Only when we miss one of them is taken away, both of them are taken away, then only we realize how fortunate we were to be able to work. Some people are able to work, able, willing, eager to work, but they don't have any opportunity. People don't have any work to do. They feel very unhappy. And some people have a lot of work to do, but they cannot do. They don't have ability due to some reason, health reason, disability. They wish they could get up and do something. If both are available to us, ability to work and opportunity to work, then we should be very grateful and be joyful and do it with great gratitude. That is the way to practice detachment from karma and karma phala. This is what Sri Ramakrishna is saying here. Perform your duties in an unselfish spirit. Unselfishness is the most important virtue. The more selfish we are, selfish means I and mine, I am doing this work, I am the doer, karta, and I must get the benefit. I am the bhokta. Kartritva, bhoktritvam, two important things that bind us. So we should give both of them. I am only an instrument, but devotees can say I am only an instrument in the hands of God, or I am a servant of God. Britya iva sarvani karmani karomi iti matya. In the commentary of Sloka 330, Shankara said that as a Britya means a servant. As a servant, I am doing this work with great joy, devotion, and as an offering to my Lord, Prabhu. That way we become unselfish, not for me, not for my sake alone. What is in it for me should not be the question. How can I serve better? How can I do better? How can I be unselfish? The more unselfish we become, the closer we approach our goal of God realization, closer we approach God. If you become totally unselfish, then what happens? Only God remains. This is why Sri Swami Vivekananda said in his Karma Yoga lectures, very important statement. Only three words in that sentence, like a Mahavakya for this age. There it says, unselfishness is God. Unselfishness is God. The best way to achieve unselfishness is to give up I and mine, mamatva, and do all activities as offering, not mine. That is the best way for most people, householders and other people. Perform your duties in an unselfish spirit. The work that Vidyasagar is engaged in is very good. He had, previous to this, he had visited Vidyasagar. He was at that time Vidyasagar was a very famous philanthropist, educationist, doing a lot of charity work, promoting education, etc. So Sri Ramakrishna says the work that Vidyasagar is doing. Where is that one? The work that Vidyasagar is engaged in is very good. Always try to perform your duties without desiring any result. The moment we desire result, then we are bound. Result will come to us, and then that result will make us do more work, and more result and attachment to karma phala, both they will continue. The cycle will continue. So if we don't want to be stuck in this cycle forever, want to get freedom, then the trick is to do all work as an offering with unselfishness. Always try to perform your duties without desiring any result. Result will come anyhow. Every action will produce a result inevitably. Good, bad, bad. Three kinds of result will come. Anishtam, ishtam, mishram cha trividham karmana phalam. When you perform any action, 18th chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, when you perform any action, one of three kinds of results will come. Anishtam, that is undesirable, unpleasant result will come. Depends upon what you do, how we do. Ishtam, sometimes desirable, the work result is desirable, we like it. Generally, mishram, combination of these two. Some part of the result is very nice, we accept it, we like it. And some part of the result is not so good, we don't like it, but that's what we get. So work produces result. But if you're inwardly detached from the result of work by offering it to the Lord, when you offer something that it's not in yours anymore, you're not attached to it anymore. Why Sri Krishna says again and again, offer everything, that you do everything to me in the Gita, is not that he needs our work. Why does he need our work? What is he does? Our work is of nothing, no use to him. Not to fulfill his need, but for us to become unselfish. If you offer something to somebody, then no longer I'm connected with it. I'm no longer attached to it. It's not mine. Never was mine. And if I thought it was mine, that idea of mine is also being given up. Detachment. That is the way to freedom. So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna says, always perform your duties without desiring any result. M asks another question. Sir, yes, sir. But may I know if one can realize God while performing one's duties? Can Rama and desire coexist? Rama and Kama, can they coexist? The other day I read in a Hindi couplet, where Rama is, there desire is not. Desire cannot be. Where desire is, there Rama cannot be. Jaha Ram, taha Kam nahi. Chaha kam, taha ram nahi. Master, all without exception perform work. Nobody can remain without performing any work even for a moment. You know from experience. Every moment you have something is going on in your body mind. You are thinking some thought. Only in deep sleep our mind is quiet. In dream also it is very active. Waking state very active. And bodily functions are going on round the clock, non-stop. Breathing, digesting food, all those things. All actions are going on. They cannot stop. Sri Krishna says in several places in the Gita, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Kshanamapi, even for a moment, no one can remain without performing any work. It's inevitable. Work is a physiological, psychological imperative. No one can escape it. But if we do it without expecting any result, as an offering, as worship, then you are free from it. We are not bound by the result. All without exception perform work. Even to chant the name of God, the name and glories of God is work, as is the meditation of the non dualist on I am He. Even those who follow the path of Jnana Yoga, Aham Brahmasmi, I'm not the body mind, etc. Even the thought that I am not the body mind, I am Brahman is also work. Work can be in the form of thought, speech, and action. Breathing is also an activity. There is no way of renouncing work altogether. So do your work, but surrender the result to God. You have to do our duties with love, devotion, gratitude, with joy, joyfully, not grudgingly, not perfunctorily, then offer all the result to the Lord. I've done this as an offering, my humble offering, please accept it. Not that he needs our work, for I want to become free from attachment to karma, karma phala. That's the purpose of offering. Many places in the Gita, Sri Krishna says, whatever you do, offer it to me. One very important place, notably, he says 927. That comes up, that sloka comes up every time. There, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yad johoshi dadasi yat, yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurusya madarpanam. Bhagavan says to Arjuna, Yat karoshi, whatever you do, general, no exception there. Good work, bad work, which you should not do, everything, whatever you do is all of that. Bad work we should not do and offer to God. That will not work. Niyatam karma. And prescribed duties we have to do. Then, yat karoshi. Tat kurusha madarpanam. Do it as an offering to me, the Lord says. So, what kind of work does he mean when he says, whatever you do? He gives some examples in the same sloka. First example Bhagavan gives is what work we should offer to God. Yadashnasi. What you eating is something everybody does many times a day. Offer it to me. If I am the eater, why should I offer it to God? Because in the 15th chapter of the Gita, Bhagavan says, clarifies why we should offer everything to God. Eating is actually a yajna that we'll do. Why it is yajna? The Lord said that He is present in the bodies of all the beings as the Vaishvanara Agni in animals, plants, and human beings also is present there. All the living beings. How is it present? Vaishvanaro bhutva aham Vaishvanaro bhutva raninam dehamashritaha. The Lord says, I am present in the bodies of all living beings as Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara means the digestive power in us. He's right, he's there. He's the Agni. So when I eat something, it goes to him. I'm putting ahuti. Just like when we, in the Homa, we set up a fire, chant mantras, and do various offerings. Samit and dry stick, dipped in ghee, this samagri, All those things, Homa Samagri, we offer chanting mantras. Same way eating is an offering, is yajna. That's why we say Brahmarupananda Brahma Haviki. So he says, Yadashnasi, whatever you eat, offer it to me as yajna, as offering. That way we perform yajna, we perform eating as yajna. Yajjuhoshi, whatever homa you do, austerities, rituals, whatever rituals we do. Dadasiyat, whatever dana charity we do, small donation or some work we do for somebody, is all dana charity. Do all of that as an offering to me, Tatkurushyamadatpanam. Exactly same thing Sri Ramakrishna says in his instructions here. There is no way of renouncing work altogether. So do your work, but surrender the result to God. M asks a question. Sir, may I make an effort to earn more money? M as a householder, your children, your wife to support, family to support, you have to make money to pay the bills and support the family. So he asked this very important question. M asks Sri Ramakrishna, may I make an effort to earn more money? Sri Ramakrishna says, it is permissible to do so to maintain a religious family. When a person becomes a householder, it accepts a great responsibility, long-term responsibility. He has to support the dependents, husband or wife, children, parents, guests. All these people depend upon the householder. In the Karma Yoga lecture, Swami Vivekananda says, the householder is the prop of the whole society. Upon the householder depend all other segments of society. Older people, sick people who cannot earn money, support themselves, parents, and other sannyasis and monks and beggars, they all depend upon the householder for their subsistence. He's a support of the whole society, and he has to pay taxes to support the whole society. So it is very important, essential that the householder make money. Just for the householder, a monk should not even touch money. That's you are in a different stage of life. So Sri Ramakrishna says it is okay to make more money to support one's family. And Swami Vivekananda goes to the extent of saying in his Karma Yoga lecture that a householder who does not make money through dharmic means is being immoral. Is failing to perform his duty, he becomes a kartavya brashta. Something which is important for him to do, he is not doing if he does not make money. See, this happened. There is an instance in the first chapter of the Gita, in the Gospel, we see one day a gentleman, his name is not known. It's in the Gospel, first chapter. He's referred to as Pratap's brother. Pratap was a devotee. So Pratap's brother goes to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna explains this incident in the first chapter. So the Pratap's brother, this gentleman, he goes to Sri Ramakrishna and asks Sri Ramakrishna for permission to stay at the Dakshineshwar Kali temple. Why does he want to stay there? Because he says, I want to do meditation all the time. Please give me permission to stay at the temple. Staying at the temple means he will be given some room and some food to eat. He doesn't have to work. That was the intention. He thought Sri Ramakrishna will be very happy to hear that one. Sri Ramakrishna rebuked him. When you if you want to come and do meditation here, who is going to take care of your family? You had a wife and children. And he had found an easy solution. Pratap's brother, he said, I already sent them to my father-in-law's house. Great. And he wants to meditate. Get out of here, Sri Ramakrishna said. This man thought he is going to be encouraging and allowed him to stay there. He said, go and get a job. Bring your wife and children from your father-in-law's house. You married, you had children. Do you want your father-in-law to take care of them? Bring them, take care of them, make money, support the family. Then when your family duties are done, You can come and meditate. Until then, you meditate and work at the same time. So work is very necessary, important. Householder does not make money, Swamiji says, is being immoral. So it is, Sri Ramakrishna says, it is permissible to do so to make more money, to maintain a religious family. You may try to increase your income, but in an honest way. Money is not bad in good hands. This is what Swamiji said. Money is not bad in good hands. You can make as much. One can make as much money as one wants. One does not have to be poor and indigent, make a lot of money, but through dharmic means, and to be spent for dharmic purposes. Then money is not harmful. So Sri Ramakrishna says, but in an honest way. You may try to increase your income, but in an honest way. The goal of life is not the earning of money, but the service of God. Money is not harmful if it is devoted to the service of God. A very important question and very nice reply. Then M asks one more question. How long should a man feel obliged to do his duty towards his wife and children? For householders, it's important question. How long? Master, Sri Ramakrishna says, as long as they feel pinched for food and clothing. That means, in this case, wife and children, it may be other dependents to parents also. One does not have to do one's duty after attainment of God, nor does one feel like doing them. When God realization comes, all duties will stop. No karma, no duties, totally free. What about their dependents? The Lord will take care of them. Promise in 9th chapter of Gita 22, Sri Krishna says, Yoga Kshemam Mohamyaham. Those who are ever devoted to Him, to them, I shall provide everything they need. Yoga means providing things that they need. Kshema means preserving things that they have. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So a devotee realizes God doesn't have to worry. Who is going to take care of my family? Nothing. Things will happen. But until then, we have to work hard. A householder has to work hard, earn money through dharmic means, and spend it for dharmic purposes to support family and other segments of society. Money is not harmful if it is devoted to the service of God. How long should a man feel obliged to do his duty towards his wife and children? As long as they feel pinched for food and clothing, but one need not take the responsibility of a son when he is able to support himself. Those days, these days, son and daughter, no difference. When they become independent, are able to live by themselves, then the parents are no longer don't have to worry about them. They actually don't want. They want to lead their life independently. They don't want the parents to interfere too much. So they become independent sooner in this society. Then one's responsibility towards them ceases. Until then, parents have to take care of their children. But one need not take the responsibility of a son when he is able to support himself. And son is able to support himself. When the young fledgling learns to pick its own food, its mother pecks it if it comes to her food. Animals also take care of their children for some time. When the bird is a little baby bird is able to fly on its own, then it will lead its own life. Like that. Some animals take care of their children for a long time, like elephants. Human beings have the longest childhood period. For a very long time, a child requires parents' help and support. But for some animals, as soon as they are born, they're almost independent. There's not much of a childhood. They live by themselves. M. How long must one do one's duty? Very important question. Master, the blossom drops off when the fruit appears. One does not have to do one's duty after the attainment of God, nor does one feel like doing it then. Actually, there is no way. It's not necessary for one to give up voluntarily. Duty, work, everything drops away by itself. When a person realizes God or achieves Brahmajnana self-knowledge, three things happen according to the Upanishads. They happen on their own. We don't have to give them up voluntarily. This naturally happens when one sees God, knows God. What are the three things that drop away by themselves? Kshiyante chasya karmani vidyate hridaya grantihi. First thing is, when a person realizes God or has self-knowledge, atma-jnana, first thing is, all the knots of the heart are cut asunder. Not mean kayanoti, not things that bind us, granthi. Hridaya granthi means knots of the heart. What are they? All the impurities, blemishes, and weaknesses. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, etc. We are familiar with them. All of them will totally, completely, permanently drop away only upon God realization. Until then, we have to control them, reduce them by self-effort. But a trace of them will remain in subtle form until the last moment. Then the moment we realize God, all of them totally, completely, permanently drop away. Vidyate hridaya grantihi. Then second thing that happens is kshiyante chasya karmani. Asya karmani, all karma will drop away by itself. One does not have to give up voluntarily. Then the third thing that happens is chidyante sarva samshaya. All doubts will completely, totally disappear. Until then, a trace of doubt remains. No matter how much you study, reflect, and develop conviction about truth, God, etc., some trace of doubt will remain. That also will completely go away when we realize God. Vidyate hridaya grantihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasa karmani. For such a person, no karma is, all sanchita will be dissolved. Agami does not affect him. Prarabdha affects only the body, and he or she remains unaffected. That is what happens when a person realizes. Until then, we have to do our duty. Then the duties drop away by themselves. How long must one do one's duty? Master, the blossom drops off when the fruit appears. One does not have to do one's duty after the attainment of God, nor does one feel like doing it then. If a drunkard takes too much liquor, he cannot retain consciousness. If he takes only 2 or 3 glasses, he can go on with his work. As you advance nearer and nearer to God, He will reduce your activities little by little. Have no fear. M asked how long we should do our duties, take care of children, family, etc. This is the reply. Keep on doing your duties, striving for realization, God realization, Atmajnana, pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti or Atmajnana. They're one and the same. When they come, duties drop off by themselves. One does not have to worry about duties. That's total freedom from karma phala, and the samshaya will go away. All blemishes of the mind will go away. Total purity will come. Have no fear. Finish the few duties you have at hand, and then you will have peace. When the mistress of the house goes to bathe after finishing her cooking and other household duties, she won't come back. However, you may shout at her. Person performs all her duties, serve the family, serve breakfast and the cooking, everything, serves them. Then she has her own personal time. Now that is, she's entitled to that. So that will happen to all devotees. They have to work very hard, do all their duties, take care of the responsibilities, family, job, everything. Once the result is attained, duties are done, then the person is free. No other entanglement, no other requirement, no other obligation, total freedom will come. But until then, we have to work. They cannot prematurely give, we cannot give up work, it won't work. Sir, what is the meaning of the realization of God? Very important question. We all talk about God realization, as if, we don't know, simply we're talking about that. What is the meaning of God realization? Good question. So M asks, what is the meaning of the realization of God? What do you mean by God vision? How does one attain it? Basic, important questions. So Sri Ramakrishna answers. According to the Vaishnavas, the aspirants and the seers of God may be divided into different groups. These are the Pravartaka, the Sadhaka, the Siddha, and the Siddha of the Siddhas, 4 categories of people who seek God. Pravartaka, he who has just set foot on the path may be called a Pravartaka. People who have just begun their spiritual life and with some earnestness, they started daily some japa, some study of scriptures, holy company, all these things. Beginning stage, they are beginners, pravartakas. That has to happen sometime. Pravartaka. He may be called a sadhaka who has for some time been practicing spiritual disciplines such as worship, japa, meditation, and the chanting of God's name and glories. Sadhaka, second stage, an aspirant who is seriously performing spiritual practices, such as he mentions here, disciplines such as worship, japa, meditation, and the chanting of God's name and glories. These are basic things. Seeking holy company, sometimes other things as pilgrimage and charity service, these are also included as spiritual practice. He may be called a Siddha, third stage, Siddha. He may be called a Siddha who has known from his inner experience that God exists. Full conviction has come. Some doubt will be there, but becomes less and less. A person who is a Siddha has unquestionable total conviction God is there, very sure of it. And such a person is called a Siddha, a perfected person, third stage of devotee's life, Siddha, who has known from his inner experience, he has experienced divine presence within oneself, such a person, that God exists. An analogy is given in the Vedanta to explain this. The master of the house is asleep in a dark room. Someone is groping in the darkness to find him. He touches the couch and says, "No, it is not he." He touches the window and says, "No, it is not he." He touches the door and says, "No, it is not he. Neti, neti. This is not this, not that." Looking for the master, but all other things are there. In darkness, we don't know what is what. Not this, not this. This is known as the Vedanta. This is known in the Vedanta as the process of neti, neti. Not this, not this. At last, his hand touches the master's body. Then he exclaims, "Oh, here is the master. Here is he." In other words, he is now conscious of the existence of the master. He has found him, but he does not yet know him intimately. Siddha description. By eliminating all that is only name and form, temporary, mithya, ever changing, coming and going, eliminating them, coming to the conclusion, experiencing God's presence are the only permanent remaining theme, unchanging, eternal, permanent, everlasting peace and joy, ananda. That conclusion has to come from experience. Then is called a siddha, no more doubt. Experience siddha. Still, he does not know the he does not know God in an intimate way. Connections come, he has known, touched God. The owner is there sleeping in a dark room, and the person looking for him has touched him. Then he knows, yes, he is here. He is here. No more doubt. After eliminating all the things that he is not that are not the master. Then what happens? Not this, not this. Here is, here he is. At last his hand touches the master's body and explains, here he is. In other words, he is now conscious of the existence of the master. He has found him, but he does not yet know him intimately. One more stage is there. It's not enough to know, have full conviction about God's presence. No doubt God is present, but we have to know God more intimately. Eventually, the seeker merges in the sought, only the God remains. That's the ultimate step. The duality also vanishes. Until the last moment, I am the devotee of God, I am a seeker of God. God is my object, I am seeking Him, I know God. The duality also will vanish at the last day. The I merges in the Him and He only remains. That is the ultimate goal. But some people want to stay in the realm of duality. Jnanis want to merge. They don't want any duality. I does not exist for them. I merges in He and only He remains. Jnanis, I am He. That I is not there anymore. Only He is there. That is Jnani's goal. But some devotees like Sri Ramakrishna and Hanuman and others, they didn't want to merge with the divine. They wanted to remain separately as devotees of God. That's their preference. Sri Ramakrishna said, I don't want to um, become sugar. I want to eat sugar. Stay away from sugar. Away from, separate from sugar. Jnanis want to merge and become one with Brahman. No, I only Brahman remains. That's their preference. But some devotees, they want to remain separate from God. So Sri Ramakrishna prayed to Divine Mother. Oh, Divine Mother, I don't want Brahmajnana. Brahmajnana means no IO, no Divine Mother, no devotee, only God, Brahman. No name, no form, no nothing. I don't want that one. Give it to those who are seeking. I want to always remain your little child, playing. Panchavarsha-bala-bhava-yukta-ham sarupinam. Like a 5-year-old child, I want to remain ever your child. I don't want to merge in you. That separation gives me greatest joy, not merger. Hanuman said the same thing. Then Sri Rama asked Hanuman at the end of Ramayana story, what you do? Like Hanuman played a key role in the whole story of Rama. What is Ramayana without Hanuman? So Rama was grateful for everything that Hanuman did. So Sri Rama asked him, what would you like to have? Hanuman, please ask me a boon. Hanuman could have asked for anything, liberation, everything, Atmajnana. But Hanuman says, I don't want that kind of liberation. First he says, I don't want liberation. Hanuman says what he does not want. He says, Bhavabandachite tasyai sprahayami na muktaye tasyai muktaye na sprahayami. I don't want liberation, mukti. What kind of mukti? Bhavabandachite, which cuts us under the bondage of worldly existence. Why does he not want mukti? Everybody is seeking mukti, liberation, moksha. Hanuman doesn't want it. So why he explains why he does not want it. If you gave me Brahmajnana Mukti, Hanuman says to Sri Rama, Bhavan Prabhu Rahamdasa iti yatra vilupyate. Bhavan Prabhu, you are my Lord, Sri Rama, beloved Lord. Rahamdasa, I am your humble servant Hanuman. That Veda will go away. So that separation will go away. Only Brahman remains, no Rama, no Hanuman, no Prabhu, no Dasa. I don't want that one. See what is devotees seek. Jnana seek oneness with Brahman, not devotees. Because this being separate as a child of the mother, a devotee of God, gives them much greater joy than merging in the one and become nameless, formless Brahman. Then he says, what else he wants? Hanuman says to Sri Rama, he says, as long as your name is taken anywhere in this world by anybody, there I want to be present as Hanuman with his body, Hanuman's body, simply enjoying the listening to the chanting of your name. That's all I want. No mukti, no liberation, no moksha. I want to be opportunity to listen to the chanting of your name and your guna, nama guna sankirtana, wherever it happened by whomever. I want to be there. Please grant me this much. See what a beautiful prayer for devotee. Not Brahmajnana, but remaining as a servant, as a devotee, simply enjoying listening to the chanting of the name and glories of God. Nothing else gives them greater joy than that one. So he says, Yavat sthasiti te nama loke mama kalevaram tavot tishtuta rajendra varoyam me avikangshitaha. Hanuman says to Sri Rama, Yavat te nama sthasiti loke asmin. As long as your name is taken anywhere in this world by anybody, tavat mama kalevaram tishtatu. Kalevaram means this body as Hanuman. May I remain as Hanuman, not merge in you or anything. That gives me the greatest joy. This is my most cherished boon, he says. Tavat tishtu kalevaram, tavat tishtu Rajendra, varoyame abhikankshitaha. O Rajendra, king of kings, Sri Rama, this is my most cherished boon, grant me this much. Sri Rama said, Tathastu. That is why when we chant Ramnam Sankirtan, we keep a separate asana for Hanuman on the right side of Rama's. Hanuman will be there. Will be there, definitely. And we keep a flower or a kartal, something on that asana for Hanuman to come. He will occupy that seat. This is true because Swami Brahmanji experienced this one, saw Hanuman there actually. Ramnam Sankirtan was going on. It was Swami Brahmananda who, Raja Maharaj started this Ramnam Sankirtan practice in all our Ramakrishna Math centers on Ekadashi days, twice a month. Here we do once a month on the first Saturday. So Hanuman will be there. And we chant, Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastak Bashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam. Wherever Raghunatha's name and glories are chanted, Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam, there Hanuman will be present. How he will be present? Bashpavari Paripurna Lochanam. His eyes, excuse me, his eyes full of devotion, of joy and devotion, full of tears of devotion and joy. And Kritamastak Anjalim, his head is bowed down in devotion, hands are folded in devotion. That's how he'll be sitting there. See if the Rama, if you see the picture of Sri Rama, photo of Sri Rama, Hanuman will be sitting there on the right side in Virasana. Virasana means the pose of a Vira, devotee. How is he sitting? With his right foot on the floor and left knee on the floor. Ready to spring into action at the moment, not at moment. Ready to do anything, say Ramakrishna wants. That is the presence of Hanuman. So even when we do our special pujas, we are going to do special puja next Monday, July 4th. Then the pujari who does the sankalpa, he sits in Virasana and chants the sankalpa. So that is the divine glory. Chanting and listening to the name of God gives a devotee the greatest joy that nothing else can give. not even liberation. So that is why here Sri Ramakrishna emphasizes money is not that it is. Yeah. The blossom drops off when the fruit appears. One does not have to do one's duty after attainment of God, nor does one feel like doing them. If a drunkard takes too much liquor, he cannot retain consciousness. If he takes only 2 or 3 glasses, he can go on with his work. As you advance nearer and nearer to God, he will reduce your activities little by little. Have no fear. As we approach God more and more devotion, duties gradually become less and less and drop away. We don't have to voluntarily give them up. Finish the few duties you have at hand, and then you will have peace. When the mistress of the house goes to bathe after finishing her duties, finishing her cooking and other household duties, she won't come back. However, you may shout after her. Sir, M asked the question, Sir, what is the meaning of God realization? Oh, this is what we were doing. What do you mean by God vision? How does one attain it? Sri Ramakrishna. According to the Vaishnavas, the aspirants and the seers of God may be divided into different groups. They are Pravartaka, Sadhaka, Siddha, and Siddha of the Siddhas. You're describing the Siddhas. One knows God's presence is there, experiences it, such a person. He may be called a Sadhaka, that we did that one. He may be called a Siddha who has known from his inner experience that God exists. An analogy is given in the Vedanta to explain this. The master of the house is asleep in the dark. That we read that one. Neti, neti, etc. Here he is. In other words, he is now conscious of the existence of the master. He has found him, but he does not yet know him immediately, intimately. There is another type known as the Siddha of the Siddha, final stage, ever perfect, the supremely perfect. It is quite a different thing when one talks to the Master intimately, when one knows God very intimately through love and devotion. Knowing God is jnana. Experiencing God's presence is vijnana. Intimately knowing God, experiencing, being able to converse with God. Sri Ramakrishna said, it is possible to know God intimately, to have conversation with God as I am having conversation with you. And he did. So every day we talk to Divine Mother. Not only teaching, whatever he taught was based on his experience, not by reading books. He could talk to God every day at will, whenever he wanted. That is possible, he says. Tam jnatum tena sa alapam kartum ta sadhyam, he says in one of the aphorisms. To know God and to have conversation. Alapa means conversation. Sadhyam is possible. That's the final stage, Siddha of the Siddhas, intimately. There is another type known as Siddha of Siddhas, supremely perfect. It's quite different. It's a quite different thing when one talks to the Master intimately, when one knows God very intimately through love and devotion. A Siddha has undoubtedly attained God, but the supremely perfect Siddha of the Siddha has known God very intimately. But in order to realize God, one must assume one of these attitudes: Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, or Madhur. Now he talks about the various bhavas. According to the Vaishnava tradition, we can relate to God in different ways. In the path of Jnana Yoga, there is no relationship. Devotee and Brahman, Brahman is not a person with whom you can relate. Personal God, we can relate. We can worship God. We can praise God's names and glories and everything we can do. We can serve Him as a servant, as a child, all those things. But with Brahman, what kind of relate? Pure consciousness, infinite, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. How to relate that one? What devotee is relation, sweet relationship is possible. Several of them. We can pursue anything that we can practice depending upon our temperament. In the next paragraph, Bhagavan describes all these various bhavas. I shall quickly read one of them. First one is Shanta. The Upanishadic sages, they had Shanta Bhava relationship with the Brahman, not in a personal way, as father, God is mother, not like that. Shanta Bhava means Shanta, the serene attitude. The rishis of olden times had this attitude towards God, Shanta Bhava. They did not desire any worldly enjoyment. It is like the single minded devotion of a wife to her husband. She knows that her husband is the embodiment of beauty and love, a veritable Madan. Madan means this, Manmatha. That is Santa Bhava, not in a personal way, but impersonal relationship. Next one is Dasya Bhava. Dasya, the attitude of a servant towards his master. Dasa means servant. Hanuman had this attitude towards Rama. He felt the strength of a lion when he worked for Rama. How did Hanuman's strength come? From where? He could cross over the ocean and reach Lanka and do all of those things. From where his strength came? From his devotion to Rama. That's very source of his strength. Hanuman had his attitude towards Rama. He felt the strength of a lion when he worked for Rama. A wife feels this mood too. She serves her husband with all her heart and soul. A mother also has a little of this attitude, as Yashoda had towards Krishna. Thus, serving, mother serves her child, devotee serves his beloved master, Lord, and a servant serves his master. Everything that we do should be done as service of God. This Sankara explained this one. The Gita itself does not come directly. One of this Dasya Bhava is not there in a direct way. In the third chapter of the Gita, sloka number 30, there Bhagavan gives 5 instructions on how to do our work. 5 things we have to follow when you do any of our duties, work. There, Maya Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, dedicating all your actions to me. First is offering everything to God. Second instruction, Adhyatma Chetasa. Adhyatma means divine presence within us, each one of us. Being aware of God's presence within us and everybody else involved in the work, and everything that is involved in the work, God is there, seeing God in everything. While interpreting that term Adhyatma Chetasa, in his commentary, Shankaracharya says, Ishwaraya Britya Iva Sarvani Karmani Karomi Iti Matya Sarvani Karmani Karayat. Britya means a servant. As a servant of Lord Ishvara, I am doing all my work as service of the Lord. Dasya Bhava. That is easy to follow. Everything we do is as service of God. As a service of God. Service means with great devotion, with joy, not grudgingly, with devotion and love and gratitude. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you in this humble way. I'm doing it in the best possible. Please accept it as my humble service. That's Dasya Bhava. Dasya. Hanuman had this attitude towards Rama. He felt the strength of a lion when he worked for Rama. A wife feels the same mood also. That Yashoda had for Krishna. Next one is Sakhya. Sakha means friend. Sakhya means the attitude of a friend. Sakhya, the attitude of friendship. Friends say to one another, come here and sit near me. Sridama and other friends sometimes fed Krishna with fruit, part of which they had already eaten, and sometimes climbed on his shoulder. Friends are free with each other. No formality, freedom. They just slap the other friend on their back and make jokes and enjoy. Arjuna did that one too with Sri Krishna. Then after Vishurupa Darshana, I realized, oh, I didn't know he was God himself was playing with. I'm sorry, I treated you as a friend and called you Hey Saka, Hey Krishna, like this one. Please forgive me, I did not know you are the Lord, you are subject. So, Sakhya Bhava, Sridama and others. The next one is Vatsalya Bhava, the attitude of a mother towards her child. sweet attitude. Mother's love for child. There's no comparison. This was Yashoda's attitude toward Krishna. The wife too has a little of this uh, attitude of a taking care of her husband as a child, lovingly. She feeds her husband with her very lifeblood, as it were. The mother feels happy only when the child has eaten to his heart's content. Mother does not eat before everybody else is fed in the family. Children, husband, relatives just have to be fed. Then only at the end, if ever anything is left, mother will take that one. Yashoda would roam about with butter in her hand in order to feed Krishna. Last one is Madhura Bhava, the attitude of a woman toward her paramar. Radha had this attitude towards Krishna. The wife also feels it for her husband. This attitude includes all the four, not generally recommended. Madhura Bhava is not uh, recommended. Sakya is also, Dasa is the best. Devotee is best. Dasa servant is best. That they are very safe. Then the topic changes. M asks a question: When when one sees God, does one see Him with these eyes? No, special eyes are necessary. As Sri Krishna granted special eye, Divyam Dadamite Chakshuhu, he said before revealing his cosmic form to Arjuna. With ordinary eyes, we cannot take. We can only see this much. If everything you have to see at once, it will not be possible. Very shocking. This room I can see. When I can't see the upstairs right now. If I could see this room and upstairs both at the same time, how it will be? You can't even imagine. So much to observe. So to see God, special eyes are needed. Purity is needed. That will come by God's grace. We shall stop here, and I shall say the closing prayer. ॐ निरञ्जनं नित्यमनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमीड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः. Om, we bow our heads before Sri Ramakrishna, who is stainless, of infinite nature, whose heart melts in sympathy for his devotees, who is an embodiment of the divine and the supreme Lord, and ever worthy of our worship. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may there be peace and joy in our hearts, Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, Adi Bhautika Shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature, Adi Daivika Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well. And Sunday, we don't have any program this Sunday. July 4th, Monday, there will be special worship. Swami Vivekananda special worship beginning at 11 o'clock. You may either attend here or may watch from home. Thanks very much. All of you stay well.